It started with a broken printer and ended with one of the biggest bank heists in history. What seemed like a simple glitch in an office machine turned out to be the only thing standing between a nation's central bank and $1 billion cyber theft. This isn't a Hollywood script. This is the real, unbelievable story of how a group of hackers, later linked to North Korea's notorious Lazarus Group, nearly pulled off the perfect digital robbery, slipping through international banking systems, time zones, and casino chips. On the quiet morning of February 7, 2016, the chairman of Bangladesh Bank took an elevator to the 10th floor, his mind preoccupied with a recurring technical issue. For the past 2 days, a printer connected to the bank's transaction system hadn't been working. This printer wasn't just for show, was crucial. Every completed international transaction was logged here in real time. The issue caused a major backlog of data. Now, finally, the printer had been repaired. But what happened next would send shockwaves to the global financial system. Within minutes of the printer coming back online, it began spitting out hundreds of transaction reports. And then came the chilling realization. The bank's account at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York had been almost completely drained. The message was clear. Bangladesh Bank had lost nearly $1 billion, but this heist didn't happen overnight. It began a full year earlier with something as innocent as an email. In 2015, a seemingly harmless job application landed in the inboxes of several Bangladesh Bank employees. Curious and unaware of the danger, they opened the attachment. Hidden inside the document was highly sophisticated malware. Once unleashed, it quietly infiltrated the bank's internal network, opening a secret back door for the hackers on invisible doorway into one of the most trusted financial institutions in South Asia. This wasn't your average phishing attack. The software was designed to create encrypted channels, enabling the attackers to spy on the bank's operations, monitor employee behavior, and study how international transactions were made. The system in use was SWIFT, the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, a trusted network used by thousands of banks globally for secure fund transfers. Even though the hackers had gained access, they faced 3 major hurdles. First, they had to compromise the printer system, which was closely monitored. Second, they had to perfectly replicate Bangladesh Bank's transaction messages, so they wouldn't raise suspicion. Third, they needed to confirm that the bank held enough funds to make the attack worthwhile. As it turned out, the bank had billions stored in accounts at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, an opportunity too good to ignore. Why target Bangladesh Bank? The answer was brutally simple. Despite its growing economy, Bangladesh's banking cybersecurity infrastructure was outdated, lacking the defensive capabilities found in more developed countries. For the hackers, it was the perfect storm. Enough funds to matter, but weak enough defenses to exploit. Over the course of a year, the hackers didn't just monitor, they evolved. They created even more advanced malware that could freeze the bank's transaction logs by disabling the printer. They knew that as long as no receipts were printed, no one would notice the theft in time. They tested and refined their plan meticulously. They also needed landing zones for the stolen money. In May 2015, they quietly opened 5 bank accounts overseas in the Philippines and 1 in Sri Lanka. These accounts appeared innocent, each opened with a tiny deposit of just $500, but behind the scenes they were being linked to global money laundering routes. Everything was set. On February 4, 2016, just after business hours, the hackers made their move. Bangladesh was entering a long weekend. At that exact moment, it was still Friday in New York and business hours in the Philippines. The time zone difference worked in the hackers' favor. They logged in remotely, activated their malware, froze the printer system, and began issuing SWIFT requests to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Dozens of high-value fund transfer orders were initiated, deeds cleverly designed to look authentic. That night, the Federal Reserve started processing the requests. Millions of dollars began flowing into the fake accounts overseas. But then, something unexpected happened. Several transactions were flagged for manual review. One included the name of a blacklisted shipping company, raising immediate concerns. This triggered red flags at the Federal Reserve. A deeper look revealed oddities' private accounts, excessive instruction volume, and large sums. Of the 35 attempted transfers totaling nearly $1 billion, only 5 went through. Even those 5 came dangerously close to being stopped. One particular transaction, a $20 million transfer to a Sri Lankan charity, was intercepted due to a simple spelling error in the word foundation. That typo saved $20 million, but it was too late for the rest. The hackers successfully moved $81 million into the Philippines. Bangladesh bank employees, still unaware of what was happening, only began suspecting something when the SWIFT system refused to work on Sunday. When they finally checked the printer, it was still blank. Panic spread. Then, they found a troubling message from the Federal Reserve questioning one of the transactions. As reality set in, the bank's leadership frantically tried to stop the transfers, but it was a weekend in New York, and no one was available to assist. The stolen money was now out of their hands, routed through layers of intermediary banks and scattered into accounts that would soon vanish. Even worse, one recipient in Asia withdrew $30 million and disappeared without a trace. The remaining $51 million was laundered through high-end casinos in the Philippines. There, existing loopholes in anti-money laundering laws worked in the hackers' favor. Casino VIP rooms designed to accommodate high rollers became the perfect cover. Using local facilitators, the hackers turned stolen money into chips, gambled to mask the transactions, and then cashed out clean. By the time international law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, caught on, the funds were long gone. Still, cybersecurity experts were able to trace fragments of the malware and connect the dots. Their findings pointed to a single source: North Korea. The group responsible was none other than the Lazarus Group, already infamous for their state-sponsored cyber attacks. According to U.S. authorities, Lazarus has attempted to steal over $1.2 billion worldwide. Yet, the Bangladesh bank heist remains their most successful operation, netting them $81 million in a single strike. This was more than just a cybercrime, it was a warning shot to the world. It exposed how even the most trusted financial systems can be manipulated when technology, timing, and a bit of human error collide. It showed how the smallest detail, like a broken printer or a misspelled word, can change the outcome of an international crime. The Lazarus Group didn't just rob a bank, they rewrote the playbook on global cyber warfare. And to this day, the missing millions remain unrecovered, the culprits unpunished, and the world's banking systems forever changed.